Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I'm your host, Morgan Kline, co-founder and CEO, along with my husband and company visionary, Devan Kline.
And together, with our amazing team, we are going to help you push past your limits, not just physically in our gyms, but right here, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually on the Burn Bootcamp podcast.
Together, we will take on challenges and break through barriers to transform into the best possible version of ourselves. We are more than a gym. We are a community. Your community. Let's go, Burn Nation.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. We have another HQ Crew episode for episode number 408. It's World Emoji Day. We're breaking down obesity, and we're talking about the ultimate transformation story. Happy July, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome.
Glad you all are here today. We got Morgan, we got Day, and we got Trish in the building. Morgan, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm loving July. We just got back from Cameron's dance competition in Savannah, Georgia. So had some good fun memories, and we're getting ready to go to Summit.
Summit time.
We can talk a little bit about if we have time today.
It's our Super Bowl.
It's our Super Bowl. Yes, that's right. It's Burn Bootcamp Super Bowl. Lots of effort goes into it. Great time connecting with everybody. So I'm looking forward to that. Excited to be here today. Excited about the topics we have ahead of us. And I'm excited about the woman on my right. If you are watching this, like Devan mentioned, we've got Day in the house. So Day, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, friends.
All right, let's tell everybody about you, and you've got a fun burn journey. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so my name is Day. I serve as the Senior Director of Franchise Operations at Burn HQ. I am our most tenured employee at HQ.
Woo-hoo.
I am hella proud of that. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
That's okay. Yeah, it's all good. And Day, tell the listeners just a little bit about how long you've known Devan.
You gotta break out the whole. just break out like the 2-minute rendition
and
of the
me,
story.
I guess, but
Yeah,
more
that's
so
true.
Devan.
A long time. I think probably since I was 19. I'm 34 now, so
That's wild.
It's a long time. Yeah, we used to work together at a box gym way back in the day, and I couldn't find anyone to open the gym on time, so I started doing it myself. And I show up at 4:15, 4:20 in the morning. Devan was knocking at the door, waiting for me to let him in.
Yeah, and not only was she waiting for me, like was I waiting for her? She was in there already. Everything was already done inside, and she was like just chilling, waiting for people to come. But she wasn't just chilling; she was like reading books about different languages. I'm like, "Hey, why you always read books?" She's like, "I'm studying." I'm like, "What for?" She's like, "Well, I know a few languages." I'm like, "A few? How many?" I know. You mean like multiple? And she starts speaking to me in multiple dialects, and I'm like, wait a second, are you the smartest person I've ever met? And she was like, we just had a good relationship from there. And then I remember I was like, hey, when those people with their Mercedes-Benz pull in and you're going to book them with a personal trainer,
Book them with me.
you better book them with me, Day, all right?
Yeah.
And I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, we go way back. When Morgan got transferred up to Charlotte and Devan moved up, they promised they'd come back for me, and
Here you are.
here I am, not going anywhere. Gotta take me out in a body bag.
Literally on my way out, like to go home, like leaving the gym the last time to go home to pack and then to move to Charlotte. I'm like, I'm going to Charlotte to start my own business, and I promise I'll come back for you.
I'll come back for you.
And I pointed at Day, and what do you think at that moment? This is funny to me.
You pretty little blonde kid. I'm never gonna see you
Yeah.
again.
That's funny.
And then I think it was 5 years.
Oh, not even.
No,
4
not even.
years.
Yeah.
4 years.
Probably
Yeah.
4 years, 3 or 4 years.
3 to 4.
Yeah,
the
when
most.
Burn Naples opened, 239. Shout out.
Yeah.
And I reached back out, and I'm like, hey, it's me.
Yeah.
You ready now?
Yep.
That's funny.
It was the best thing, the best decision I've ever made. I'm eternally grateful to have joined the team.
Oh, thanks for being here today, Day.
Thanks for having me.
We
Trisha.
love I was gonna say we love having you here today, Day. I'm excited. I feel like July, whenever it's Summit, to Morgan's point, whenever it was, I think last year was it in June. I just feel like the whole month is just about Summit. So that's kind of where my brain is at. Also, all my kids are at home right now. So obviously with summer break, so it's kind of a fun transition when you go from like full work mode to like they're all kind of crazy at home. So it's a nice like kind of dynamic for me of like being straight work to then being mom mode. So I'm just loving the summer months so far.
Yeah, me too. For those of you that have followed the Burn Bootcamp journey, you know that I was the CEO for a very long time, and then Morgan in a couple years ago. How long has it been now?
It was August of 2022, so it's coming up on 2 years.
August of 2022. So, it's taken us a while to really get this visionary integrator, co-CEO type model. And, my personal remark today is that I feel like finally, after some ups and downs, some lefts and rights, trying to figure it out, that we're getting it. We're getting it. We're hitting stride, babe. What do you think? Oh, should I call you babe or should I call you CEO?
I secretly love it when you use those pet names with each other.
I always forget what kind of setting we're in, but I just want to say I'm this is no like hyperbole. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
And I feel congruent with what I get to do. And Trish, I get to sit around and think about marketing so that I can just try to give you as many ideas as I can, so you can throw like 99% of them away, but there's going to be one in there.
I love it.
That it's gold.
Keep bringing it, Devan.
Yep, I'm excited to be here today, everybody. The Burn World, all right? That's why we always kick off the podcast, just keeping you up to date, what's going on in the Burn World. And I wanted to go ahead and plug something real quick. So plug, here it comes. But this is for your good, Burn Nation, okay? Right here on this podcast, you get to sit down with me one-on-one, okay? It can either be in the studio, which we prefer, or it can be over the internet. But we get to do an elongated focus meeting where we get to dive in for 60 plus minutes, up to 90 minutes, just on you to focus on your health, your happiness, your abundance, your energy. I've helped thousands of people with the Burn Bootcamp lifestyle, and I'm excited to help more people right here on the podcast, because here's why I'm really excited, because your story then translates to thousands of listeners on the podcast, and they get better by listening to you, and you get better because you're overcoming that vulnerability, you're overcoming that fear of telling your story. So my call to action is share your story. Come on the podcast, do a focus meeting with me, share your story. Let's set a goal and let's get after it, and let's continue to inspire Burn Nation. So focus meeting submissions, all right? A direct link will be in this post, or it will be in this description. There's a link here. Tap it, fill it out. We'll get you on the podcast. And this is the month also in the Burn World of the Streak Challenge, all right? Streak challenges, everybody.
The Streak Challenge, we did this for the first time last year. So it's during the summer months when we basically were listening to our members. So if you guys don't know who I am the VP of Marketing, Social Media. We listen to you guys whenever you guys are giving us feedback. And one thing that we know from our members, and I mean me as a human, a busy mom, a working mom, it's hard to sometimes keep up with your routine during the summer months because we have travel, we have kids at home, just our routine is kind of thrown away. So we came up with the Streak Challenge last year, and we're bringing it back this year because there was so much hype around it, and it is officially kicked off now. So if you go to our Instagram, Burn Bootcamp, you can download the tracker and you can stick with us, keep up with your goals. So here it is. You want to complete 12 camps, which, by the way, you can go to your location or you can go to the app, go on demand, and all of our on-demand camps also count for your streak. Don't forget that, and then you can keep up with your streak. Now, something new that wasn't last year in the app, if you're not already in it, you can see your streak in the app too, which is really cool. You want to do one focus meeting, and then we want you to invite your friends because we all know burn is better with friends. So get those friends to come with you, and this is over 4 weeks. So we're 1 week in right now. Let's keep our routine going, and then that way when we come back into full swing of school back in session, we're not missing a beat. So hopefully you join us for the Streak Challenge. Devan, what do you think?
Hey, I love it. I'm all in. I'm probably going to do more than 12 camps if I'm honest with you, but I'm all in for this. I love a good challenge. It allows us to just refocus, reset, and as long as we are not fixated on like it's over when the challenge is over, we just move on to the next phase. That is what we do here at Burn, and we try to throw pops of challenges in there to keep our members motivated because we all know that progress is happiness. So you keep progressing, you're going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
I think too, what I love about this challenge is it's super simple. Like it's not too complex, it's not do all these things in one day, which we do have challenges like that. But like you said, in the summer, the more simple we can make it. I love that we have the streaks on the app. So if you don't have that accountability tracker handy, like you can still see visually that, hey, you did it for the day or you did it one of the 12. But like Devan said, these are really meant for habit building, because once you get into the groove of doing something, the goal is that you continue that. And it's those small goals and those small wins over time that you can just repeat and repeat and repeat. And so really a streak challenge could happen every month for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just setting those goals and then using an accountability method to track them. So
I'm a huge believer of the streak challenge. It was a game changer for me last year. And with the rollout of the app, keeping track of camps is so much easier and so much fun. Honestly, I was not a believer before, but this was a game changer for me. I love our app. I love our on-demand product. Those road trip workouts we just released, I was just doing them this weekend. They're killer.
Yeah.
How many camps do we have, everyone, on your Keep Moving Club? I'm officially at 82 right now.
121.
I
I
know.
know.
Is
I
killing.
remember
Gosh.
celebrating her 100 at camp at Lake Norman. So I was going to say, I know you're way north of 100.
Good job, Day.
Good
Atta
job,
girl.
Day.
I'm proud of myself for 82 too, because I've been running a lot as well.
94.
94. Good job, Trish.
Almost at 100.
All right. Well, we're going to keep racing to 100. And here's what I want to say about the Keep Moving Club, okay? Your number is not good, nor is it bad. Your number is your number. Your number has nothing to do with someone else's number. 100, and just because somebody else got to 150 or 200 or 250 and we're celebrating in camp, that doesn't mean that your 82 isn't just as worthy of celebration. There are milestones for us all. This is an opportunity for you to be a part of the community, to celebrate others, to intentionally celebrate others. I get it. We all have a slight competitive nature. Some of us a lot more than others. And competition isn't always a great thing. You can be competitive, but too much of anything is bad, right? Being too competitive or not competitive enough is, you want to find that right pocket. And you definitely know you're too competitive when somebody else is doing something that's great and you're not happy about it. And you project that inward as lack of self-esteem or unworthiness unto yourself. So,
And let that
let's not
motivate
do
you to
that.
make changes, right?
Yes.
So like if you are finding that reaction, which is human nature to feel a certain way sometimes, but like look in the mirror and say, okay, why am I feeling this way? And then what can I do so I don't feel this way anymore? So I'm a big believer of holding yourself accountable.
Well, the newest location number 404 in Union, Kentucky, Terrell and Tom Wiley. Okay, Terrell, I want to shout her out because she has been a part of Burn Nation from the Mooresville location practically since it started. They have two other locations in Lexington and Fort Mitchell. And I can't say enough great things about what they're doing in their communities. I've been up there to see them in the Midwest. Terrell is taking everything that she learned at Mooresville and the feeling of Burn Boot Camp that really transformed her life. And she is jumping off that proverbial entrepreneurial cliff and rolling the dice on her being able to translate that feeling to other people. That's what this company is all about, is going out on a limb to help make others better. And Tom and Terrell are crushing it. They're having an amazing start at location 404 in Union. I can't wait to get there. Tom and Terrell, thank you for continuing to build. We love you guys. Keep it going.
Yeah, we love Tom and Terrell.
Yeah, and Tom served on the Franchise Advisory Council, which was during the pandemic. So both of them have invested in the brand and invested in their communities, and we're super thankful and excited to see the quick growth in Union. So
Yes.
job.
So Morgan, we also have a burn story we want to talk about today.
We do.
Let's talk this. I'm excited for this one.
Yes, this is a good one. So her name is Whitney Stripling, and I actually met her for the first time at Athlete Games. Trish, I don't know if you remember her there because you were the MC or you were the host.
I think I was saying her name wrong the whole time.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Whitney.
So, and hopefully I'm saying it right, Whitney. I believe it's Stripling, but if I'm wrong, then apologies. But yes, she killed it at the games. And what's really cool about this story, I'm going to share it in a minute, is we've talked about this before. The journey that we see so many of our members take, right? It starts with intimidation, maybe to walk in through the door. It becomes you're a member now, and then maybe you want to be a bigger part of it, and you become a BA or Child Watch or a trainer, and then you want to take that even further to become a franchise partner. So Whitney just became a franchise partner at our Lost Mountain, Georgia location. So she's got a partner there, and we're just excited to see this next chapter. But we'll take it back to kind of where it began for Whitney. So the transformation here is about transformation is everything you gain back instead of what you lose. We like to say that a lot. It's not about what you lose, it's about what you gain. And so she's been an athlete her entire life. Like I mentioned, she competed in our athlete games, and pushing herself to the absolute limit physically has always been where she feels most alive, which I think a lot of people can relate to. She went through a long period of disordered eating and over-exercising and lost not only her physical health, but also her self-confidence and her self-worth. And so it's been a long time, a long road to becoming whole, healthy, and alive again. And Burn has been a huge part of that for her. Being a member, trainer, and now FP, like I mentioned, has allowed her to find herself again and fall in love with what her body can do. And life is more vibrant when you enjoy it to the fullest. And Burn has given her a place to push herself and also a place to be accepted wholeheartedly as, a scarred but beautiful human being. So I love that story. And Whitney, thank you for sharing. I think it's very relatable for a lot of people who, go down that path of not loving themselves and not loving the changes that they might be seeing in their body through all the different phases. And so kudos to her for sharing that, but also doing the work to find herself again and finding her self-confidence. So now she can exude that and give it to the other people that need it through being a trainer and a franchise partner. What's your experience with Whitney? I know maybe have you interacted with her much?
Yeah, a resale. We love our resales, our franchise partners that come and take over our existing locations. I think her story is beautiful, and I think it really speaks to what Burn has done for so many of us. Like I mentioned earlier, Devan and I have been part of a normal gym, and it's all about what you lose. It's not about celebrating what your body can do. It's one of the things that I love the most about Burn that has had such a great impact. It's not about shrinking myself to take as little space as I possibly can, but it's about celebrating all the really cool things that my body can do.
Yep.
And I love that she gets to impact her community with an authentic story.
Yeah. I love that story.
Did you say Whitney or Gal Gadot? Because I'm pretty sure that she looks like Wonder Woman. And I saw her at Fire Club and I'm like, Gal Gadot is here? No, just Whitney.
Do you want to know a fun story, a fun fact about her? So one of the cool things that I get to do with hosting athlete games with Wendy Venturini is I get to learn about all of the athletes. And I just had to fact check myself because it's been a minute since athlete games, but she was inducted into her college softball Hall of Fame. Wow. And the induction ceremony was the same weekend as athlete games last year. So I remember when we were interviewing her, she was saying how her family was there to kind of get that acknowledgement for her while she was competing, giving it her all on the floor. And let me tell you, she put it all out there. So it's really cool to see her journey because I think now, thinking back through her journey of being a member and then all that she's gone through and then how she's now kind of showing how she wants to give everything back to her members and laying it out on the floor and just, I don't know, her story was incredible last year. And after you said that about her being at the games, shout out to Whitney and congratulations again on that Hall of Fame because that was a really cool moment.
Yes, that was a really cool moment. Thanks for bringing that back up, Trish. I appreciate that because it was a good moment.
I think too, I would love to just share the opportunity of being an owner and being able to be a bigger part of this. Like I said, it's cool to always see the journey from a member to being a part of a gym and then wanting to carry that passion and forward. And that's exactly what Whitney did. And so we have that opportunity across all of Burn Nation. We're in 43 states. We have a lot of available territory still. And so if you are somebody that is interested in owning a Burn Boot Camp, and being able to share our mission together and give to others what maybe you've received through Burn Boot Camp, we would love to talk more about it to you. So we'll include the link of how to get a hold of us, how to learn more about the Burn Boot Camp franchise opportunity.
Yes, and I want to move on to a member Q&A. Okay, I'm so excited for this question because anytime we get a question that's rooted in psychology, it's like my bread and butter. And I really believe that is what has been the undertone of Burn Boot Camp success is helping people not just overcome their physiological desires and challenges, but also the underlying psychological ones, because we all know that it's easy to work out a couple times, but it's really hard to do it forever as a lifestyle. And so the set of your mindset is really important. And the question that comes from our member today is that it's easy to fall off the wagon. Could you please share some tips to stay consistent? And I'll lead this one off because this is right up my alley. And I want to break this down to actually understand the question first. So I can see some tendencies in here that I want to address. So it's easy to fall off the wagon. Okay, that was a statement. All right, that means there's certainty whenever there's a period. Fall off the wagon is a metaphor. But metaphors we have to be careful with, because if you're using it when it's attached to something deeply emotional for you, you actually take that metaphor as reality. And so Dr. Aaron T. Beck, a psychologist back in the 70s and 80s, really discovered this. And he said to watch out for 3 language patterns. There's 3 language patterns that universally all psychologists can recognize: catastrophize, overgeneralize, and personalize. And so when we catastrophize, it's kind of like the anywhere, all the time, everyone's always out to get me mindset. Or an example of that might be, when I make a mistake, my whole life is screwed up. I failed this one test. Now my relationship is going to be a failure, and my fitness is going to be a failure. You take one thing and you project it onto everything. Catastrophize, we can't do that. Overgeneralize is a broad, sweeping conclusion. Beck also found this in 1976, called Beck et al. Is the name of the actual publication. I failed this exam, so therefore I am a failure. So I take one thing that I did, and now my whole life in a generalization is a failure. So overgeneralizing is a language pattern that oftentimes people who are not successful will possess. And then finally, personalization, where you're attributing external events to your personality with little to no evidence. So it's like, I lost us the game when, that entire game was played by 10 people in hundreds of activities. You could never have possibly just lost you the game. So you take whatever happened negatively or positively and you assert it to yourself. I fell off the wagon in this is this really combination of all 3 of these things, where I fell off the wagon. I'm overgeneralizing, I'm making it personal, and I'm making it a catastrophe, all in one little metaphor. This is dangerous. And we've got to watch our words. And so my first advice, not even an answer to your question, is show me your wagon and show me your bruises. Because I'm pretty sure we drive hybrid electric vehicles now. There's no falling off wagons, and there is no bruise. So you don't have damage from modifying a healthy diet temporarily. You don't have damage from that. So if you say I fell off the wagon, you're inherently subconsciously saying I am hurt by this. Hurt by what? Thin air? You know what I mean? So this is the pattern that I want to keep us away from. There's a language pattern. Like if you split the world into, this might sound a little crude, but it's clear, so I think it helps. Into winners, people win, and people lose at things. You either win or you lose, right? It's the duality of life, up, down, left, right. You can't have winners, you can't without losers. There's a language pattern that the losers possess, and it is these 3 things: catastrophe, overgeneralization, personalization, and there's a language pattern that people who are winning will exude. So what side do you want to be on? The winning side or the losing side? So I don't have tips. I don't have tips to stay consistent, because the underlying psychology, what I'm talking about, that needs to be, you can't just check those boxes. You've got to fill those boxes and apply constant self-awareness to see if I'm doing these 3 things. That is the actual tool, slowing the game down a little bit, saying, am I catastrophizing? Am I overgeneralizing? Am I personalizing?
I think you just said what I was thinking when I read this question was lack of self-awareness. I think that that's something that's helped me, at least like going back to her question and sharing tips, is having the self-awareness to understand like what I'm doing, right? So making sure that I am self-aware of if I have a busy week, my kid is sick. Last night is a great example. My kid had hives and I was supposed to take 5:30 a.m. camp. Like I had to commit to myself and I had to have the self-awareness to like tell myself I'm still going to go to camp. And I woke up and I still went to camp. So I think that that's the biggest thing that honestly, I think Burn Boot Camp and like putting my like body through like physical change like on purpose has given me more self-awareness and not only just confidence. And probably I got confidence because I got more self-awareness. Mm-hmm. So it's like this really cool cycle that I think once you have that foundation of self-awareness, these types of questions won't be questions anymore because you have the self-awareness to kind of work through it. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I think I thought of the same thing too, is what's the wagon and what does it mean to fall off? Because we can all define that so differently. So it's very vague. So let's say that they're asking this question because maybe they think falling off the wagon means I went on a vacation and I ate and drank whatever I wanted and maybe I didn't work out for 7 days. And so if that's what you're considering falling off the wagon, then it's just it's a decision and a choice to come back from that vacation and say, hey, that's okay that I lived that life in that week and I didn't do those things. But if you're telling yourself you're falling off the wagon, then your behavior is going to continue because you think you're on the ground and that you're not in the wagon. So just realize and accept and have that self-awareness that, hey, I live a balanced life and it's okay to go 7 days without working out if that's what my mind and body needed. And it's okay that I drank and I ate these things. Now today is a new day. And now like I'm making a conscious choice to do something different. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. One of my day-isms that I say day in and day out is that words matter. The words that we use, the stories that we tell ourselves, they're so important to the quality of life that we lead. And I agree with you, Morgan. If your wagon is one made of balance where you're not rigid, but you are flexible, like we are not meant to be rigid. We're not meant to eat, egg whites and boiled chicken. Like what quality of life are you having? Enjoy the cupcake with your kids, go on vacation, but don't punish yourself for quote unquote falling off the wagon. Get back to, the balanced life that is makes you feel the best, which is what we're all after.
Yep.
And if you fall off the wagon, it hurts. And so now you're going to associate that vacation that was supposed to be pleasurable with something that's painful.
Yeah.
Which is the ultimate two motivators in life is pain and pleasure. Everything that we do can be, I think that's one layer above the fundamental motivator, which is love.
Yeah.
So it's love and then it's pain and it's pleasure. And I will do anything to get more love and I will do anything to run away from losing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, words matter, Day. Words matter.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. Anything else on this question? I think we got our point across.
I think we're good.
Okay.
We're
all right.
good.
But that's a really important one, and we have to remember psychology matters. Words matter.
Yeah.
Language of losers, language of winners, words of winners, not language of losers.
Yeah, and I think this is an important note, I think, for us and how we think at Burn Boot Camp, because we could just sit here and say, oh, well, do a challenge, or that's how you get back on track, or like that's tips to stay consistent, like do the streak challenge.
That'd make a lot more money.
Yeah, but I think for us, we've all realized that it's deeper than that, and people get demotivated and remotivated and demotivated and remotivated, and if they don't fix the mindset, then they're going to keep going through that cycle. They're going to keep going through the diet cycle and the motivation cycle. And so we've learned, and we believe this, we put it in the book too. It's like, it's what's going on in here. And if we don't get to the root of that, it doesn't matter what tips we throw out to you. They're all going to fall flat eventually.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes our marketing different too, Trish, is that it's easy to just follow the crowd and do like the tried and true things that had always worked in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
But that's promoting what Morgan's talking about. Right. It's not creating a different perspective, a more empowering perspective that makes people's life better in the long run. It's, the traditional marketing has been lose weight fast, 30-day quick fix, like, and so obviously that puts you between a rock and a hard place trying to find a marketing, like you're trying to dial in our marketing message but it also makes us who we are and different because we refuse to just latch on to this, this narrative that's disempowering.
Well, and I think if you, our transformation stories, every fitness company out there has transformation stories, but all the ones that I've read, they don't talk, maybe it might start with losing weight or that's the scale, the number on the scale. But most times I would say 90-ish% of the time, they end with a mental transformation, which is what we lean into and how we're different because of what Morgan just said. That's really important to us. That's part of like our core values is to be authentic, right? And so that's what we know works is for you to actually understand yourself. And so I think honestly, from a marketing perspective and a storytelling perspective, I'm really, I feel blessed that I work for and get to be part of a brand that is an emotional brand, that we create these deeper connections with our members because they have literally transformed their lives from the inside out. So no, I love it.
Yeah.
Morgan, we have a headline today.
We do.
The Mayo Clinic comes in with an article breaking down obesity. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I've got it pulled up here. I'm just going to kind of read the first opening paragraph and the overview, and then we can kind of get into some of these questions. So obesity is a complex disease involving having too much body fat, obesity isn't just a cosmetic concern, it's a medical problem that increases the risk of many other diseases and health problems. Those can include heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, liver disease, sleep apnea, and certain cancers. So when we talk about being obese, it is not just what you see on the outside, it is how it's impacting you on the inside from a health perspective. There are many reasons why some people have trouble losing weight, and often obesity results from inherited beliefs, environmental factors, combined with diet, physical activity, and exercise choices. The good news is that even modest weight loss can improve the health problems that can be underlying with obesity. A healthier diet, increased physical activity, and behavior changes can really help you lose weight. Obviously, there's also a medical world out there when it comes to obesity with medical weight loss drugs and programs. But obviously, this is a problem in the United States. There's another article that I read. I want to say 40% of our world right now, or of our United States, is obese. I'm going to fact check that really quickly, but that's a problem, and it's not, like we said, it's not just about what food you're eating and the exercise and the diet. There's so much that goes into this, and I was thinking about it a lot last night when I read the article, that our system is really doing an injustice to the people that live here because of the access to food, the price of quality food, the belief system that we've instilled in a lot of our brains about food, the way that we get marketed to.
I was just going to say,
Yeah. So I think, I was reading this article about, and I have my own experience with it. When I worked in the CPG industry, I worked for Kellogg's. And so we had products that were WIC approved, women, infant, children. Devan, I know you've been on food stamps as a kid, and that food wasn't quality food. That was crappy food, right? And so how are we as a society supporting people that don't have the means and the money to eat quality food? Why don't they get the same access? Why are we pushing the bad food into them? Those are the people that probably already have some belief systems about being physically fit. And so for me, it's about how do we provide more access to that population that needs to first be educated, have better access to diet and exercise, and then how do we change the belief system about food and just, God, we could go really deep in here, but that's the basis of the article. And I want to make sure I pull up and fact check the stats of how many people are obese.
I just did that for you while you were talking.
Thank you.
So let me be, because this
42%.
Because this article,
of Americans.
because this article is shining light on the dangers of being obese, which are real. There are real dangers to it. There is a direct correlation with obesity and lifespan. And this is not my opinion. You can look it up anywhere on the interwebs. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's a bad way to start this. I observe that we are doing much better with part of the conversation. In the 1960s, in the 70s, and in the 80s, we didn't have as much access to food, which is the root cause of obesity, but we also didn't have as much awareness around fitness and health and access to information and knowledge. So there wasn't as many obese people, but there also wasn't any need to combat it. So what the obesity crisis has done is also created this tailwind of a fitness and wellness industry that's booming right now. And we're at the beginning, in my opinion, of changing the ship just 1 degree. What happens when a person sets a goal in their life, or a ship decides to change course going north to go, let's say, northwest? If I just turn that 1 degree, I might be turning a little bit, but over time, if I continue on that path versus my original path at 1 degree north, I'm going to end up in two vastly, completely geometrically different places. And what we are experiencing right now at a 73.6% overweight ratio, which, by the way, a little caveat is that is based on body mass index, which can have an asterisk next to it. I could technically at some point be considered overweight if I was like 5 pounds heavier. If I ate 2 cheeseburgers and now all of a sudden I'm overweight.
Because it doesn't consider
muscle mass.
Muscle mass, yeah.
But 42% 43% obesity by all in America by all standards. So 43% are in danger, and 73.6% could potentially be on the brink of that. Okay, so we're doing better. We have more physical awareness around it. The next level, this is level 1, physical awareness of our body. Number 2 is psychological awareness. It's going from, I need to do this because I know that physical fitness is good for me because I read it everywhere, to intrinsically going inward and understanding how this thing called fitness does more than just get you biceps and abs. It actually changes the chemistry of your brain. It rewires your brain so that you can start to become a person that does hard things. And if you step in the gym every single day and you're showing yourself what you're made of, things in your life get a little bit easier, like eating food and controlling your food habits. And so I'm all for, like, as you know, here at Burn Bootcamp, like there's this huge movement over the last like half of a decade, the whole body love movement, which I find parts of it amazing, and I find parts of it that I think could get more sharp, and that could get better. Loving your body is taking care of your body. Your body is a temple. It is a beautiful thing. It's a gift from God, and we have to take care of our body. That's what it is. It's taking care of it. It's genuinely treating your body as if it was something that is worthy of being taken care of. Like, we oftentimes will take more care of like our artifacts than we do of our body, like our trophy that we got, for winning the state baseball championship in high school. We'll take better care of that artifact than we actually will of our body. So body love is taking care of yourself from the inside out. And body love is not denying the scientific dangers that sit behind obesity and saying it's okay because I love myself. Now, if you want to love yourself and that's the blueprint that you have and you think big is beautiful, and I agree, that is you, that is your perspective. I think your perspective is the truth, but there's also a universal truth that says once you get over this certain weight, you're into super obesity, your lifespan is going to average 7 years less. And if we can understand that and we're still happy with it, if you know that information and you still choose to live that lifestyle, then I am on board. I am team you. But the thing I have a problem with is we can't go through life saying, I'm going to do whatever I want to my body, whenever I want, regardless of the danger that it puts me in, and I'm going to live the longest, most fruitful life that I possibly can. And I'm going to take it. So there's just a built-in inherent contradiction in our current definition of the term body love. And I think this is what I mean. Why I'm saying this is what I mean from first level to second level. When we actually get what that means, when we psychologically understand that loving our body is doing everything that we can humanly possible to take care of ourselves so that we can be here, so that we can have energy, so that we can live for our families and for ourselves. Once we understand that, I think we will have collectively shifted the paradigm. If anybody's ever heard me say Burn Bootcamp exists to shift the paradigm, that's what I mean.
Yeah. I think also one of the good things, just kind of bring it back to Burn Bootcamp. If you're one of those people out there, you don't know where to start, or maybe you have a friend that doesn't know where to start, that's why I'm really thankful we have focus meetings, which is if you wanted to go in and just talk to a trainer, a certified personal trainer, about what next steps do I need to take to get to all the things that Devan was just talking about, we have these available for you. And we also have body diagnostics. So it can tell you more than your BMI, which I know still kind of throws me for a loop because I do weigh like more than I probably would be considered overweight, because I do have like a lot of muscle mass, which I'm thankful. I don't like to get on it often because I have mental problems and I need to work through them myself. I'm just being very honest with you guys. But we do have that machine that will help you then show how much body muscle mass you do have, and then how much body weight or body fat you have. And then you can make a plan to get back on track, or whatever your goals are, to Devan's point, to get that body love, which is most important for everybody. So I just want to call out the focus meetings, because I do think that those are really helpful if you have nowhere to start and you don't know who to talk to.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts on this.
Same.
First, I want to touch on what Devan was talking about, body positivity and body love. I feel very blessed that I have a great relationship with my body. I actually talk about her as if she were a person. She's not an it, she's a her and a she. And just that switch, words matter, has made such a huge difference for me because I want to treat her so good, right? I am so grateful for everything that she allows me to do. She allows me to go swimming with my nephew. I was just in Naples, Florida, and I was playing in the pool with my nephew. You know, she allows me to take my dog for a walk. She allows me to feel and hear things and taste things. So I do think that's very, very important. And that makes me want to take such good care of her. And that definitely comes with being mindful about what I'm fueling her with. But I think one thing we didn't talk about yet that I think is so important is how much less movement we have in our lives as we've gotten older, right? Like I remember when I was younger, riding my bike to my friend's house. And if it wasn't for my dog now and Burn, you know, I'd probably sit most of the day. You know, I have a desk job, so I sit behind the desk. And most people will sit at their desks their entire day and then they'll go home and they'll sit on the couch and sit some more until they go to sleep and lay down. So that's not a lot of movement, right? And those are those two parts that our body really needs, is to fuel ourselves with food that is giving us power and nutrients and vitamins and all those beautiful things, and also to move. Even just taking, you know, 1 30-minute walk a day is going to make such a huge difference.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that was actually part of one of the articles too, was just the rise in technology. And, you know, when you think about our kids, and what's the future going to look like for them if we keep going down that pathway, and how are we getting our kids away from the screens and back onto the bike? And, you know, they're eliminating recess in certain schools, I've heard. And so I kind of go back to like the system. That's what I can't get my mind off of when we think about obesity. This article here that I was reading, and Devan, you know, you said we're getting better, but we're up 30%
So
from
we're
just
getting
20 years
more
ago.
aware.
More aware, yeah. And we spend over $1 trillion on obesity-related healthcare. So it's like, wow, what could we do with those $1 trillion? You know, right now we're feeding the system of, you know, prescription weight loss drugs and healthcare to treat those diseases that we've talked about obesity can create. But I don't know. I mean, we at Burn Boot Camp can only do our part, and so that's what we'll stay focused on. You know, we've started to partner with insurance companies, so that's a big initiative for us. Is how do we get with insurance companies, with employers, to say, hey, how can we get your employees to be active, to get them moving, to pay for their membership, pay for a portion of their membership. You know, our on-demand product to me is that way for us to be more accessible to people that maybe cannot afford a boutique fitness membership or are not in an area where there is a Burn Boot Camp. Movement is important to us, and it all drives back to our mission. And so we'll continue to do the things that help educate people on what does nourishment look like, and what does movement look like, and find your modality. And we want to meet you where you're at. Like Trish said, we want to meet you where you're at, bring you in, and help you start to achieve some of those small goals. But I think this is a more systemic problem that is not really being addressed because it doesn't serve, from a money perspective, it doesn't serve people well because they won't make as much money when less people are obese.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I just want to say one last thing on this is that when it comes to like, does obesity run in the family? And the answer is yes. I mean, there are genes that account to 40% to 70% of genetic obesity, but there's also epigenetic and environmental factors as well, like diet, exercise, etc. But I think the most important one out of all that is going back to your childhood and examining what belief systems were installed, right? There could be a proclivity or a tendency to be overweight because of your genes, but also genes, as we know, we can turn them off and turn them on. We can upregulate genes and we can downregulate genes. It is now scientifically proven you can make yourself sick through thought, and you can create healing in your body through thought. And obesity, as this article says, is labeled in the scientific world, not my words, as a disease. And so if we are sick, then thought can then heal obesity. And I really believe that what that actually means practically for us is that these belief systems that were installed by our parents, because we might look at our parents and say, oh, it's genetic because both of my parents are overweight. Yes, there is a tendency to be overweight, but also epigenetically, you were installed belief systems that weren't yours. And now all of a sudden you are 42 and you believe we are just big boned people.
Yeah.
You believe that. And so the most powerful force in human nature is to be consistent with who you believe you are.
It's your RAS, right? Your reticular activating system. So
That's
if you
right.
tell yourself that, then your actions are going to follow, and you're going to start making choices like you're a big boned person, or, you know, whatever you say to yourself. And so words matter.
Seek and you shall find.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Any other thoughts there, you guys?
No,
Woo!
good topic.
Fire me
Good
up on
topic.
this one,
I could
everybody.
talk about that
Oh,
the whole
yeah.
time because I just feel passionate about it. But
This is part of our mission.
yeah,
Yeah,
So-
I just think you need to, focus on what you want your life to look like, right? Like, yeah, you may have some genetic predispositions, but if you're not eating healthy and you're not getting some movement, you're not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah.
And think about what that means for the quality of your life. Like, do you want to run a little bit, faster with your kids? Do you want to be able to play with them for a little bit longer? Do you want to be able to lift your child, as you're playing with them, or not have your later years in life be spent in a hospital bed, and you get to invest in yourself?
absolutely.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, guys, we have another audience question. Okay, this is from a member. How do you know if you should take a rest day on strength versus a cardio day? How do you know if you should take a rest day on a strength day versus a cardio day? What I love about this question is that you inherently believe in a rest day. So can we just start there? Okay, can everybody just take one day? Are you listening to me, Burn Nation? Are you listening to me? Can you take one day not to have anything to do physically? Can you just walk maybe if you need to do something? Maybe just do some light stretching if you must. But we do not need to have a demanding training session 7 days a week. As human beings, Dave said it earlier, we are not meant to go all the time. We need go, we need stop, we need reflect. We need all three of those different phases. So how do you know, Trish, strength versus cardio day, what would you rather take a rest on and why?
Well, I think you have to listen to your body. And then I also think that, for me, sometimes it's a mental game, right? Do I actually need a rest day, or is it because it's core strength, and core strength is not my favorite protocol? So maybe I'm like, ooh, I need a rest day. But so really that's what goes on in my head is listen to my body. What is my body telling me? Am I actually just trying to make an excuse to not go to camp? Because that's a lot of the thing, right? I'm big on not making excuses. So I think you have to at least come to terms with it and call it what it is, right? For me, I'm going to probably miss core strength. I need to go to more. I get on me for that, but that's my excuse.
You heard it, people. Get on Trish for that.
So that's probably what I would say is just understand if it's an excuse that you're trying to make for yourself, or if your body actually needs to take a rest day. And to Devan's point, we can't just go all the time. So take that rest day and then get back on the next day.
Yeah, knowing your body. That's how you know whether you should take a rest day or not. For me, if I don't drink enough water, if I don't get enough sleep, if I'm not eating enough protein, I feel it. I feel it. And I know I'm not going to be able to perform my best when I go to camp. And I love performing my best when I go to camp. I love jumping that highest hurdle. I love
Jay
box
gets
jumps are my
after it.
favorite. Box jumps
Yeah.
are my favorite. It feels so fun. It feels like when you're a little kid and you were playing with your friends,
Yeah.
So yeah, knowing your body and knowing what you need to give your body, whether that is water or food or rest. But you can't know unless you increase that awareness. All these themes in today's episode.
I'll take a little different answer on it but I agree with both of what you guys have said. I think for me, I associate strength days with what's my soreness level, and then cardio days with what's my energy level. So there's certain days where if I don't sleep good, or it's the time of the month, I'll just be honest, I feel energy sucked from me, where a cardio day would probably take it all out, and then that's worse for me for the rest of the week. Versus a strength day I can usually power through if my energy's low, believe it or not, as long as I'm eating and nourishing well. But on strength days, if I'm just super sore and I'm not going to be able to give it my all today, maybe I just need to go for a walk instead.
Yeah.
So those are the two ways I associate my decision.
I'm gonna give everybody just a framework because, as we all know, Trish, you've been on the mic as a trainer before. Morgan, obviously. Day, you've taken how many camps? More than any human.
Lot.
And we all have the tendency, once we start to get momentum, to think that that momentum has to accelerate in order for us to continue with progress. So think about, and DG talks a lot about this too. He talks about every little moment in life or a workout in life is either positive attribution or negatively attributed to momentum. And you take all those moments, all those different workouts together, you get momentum. And we have a tendency a lot of times to, as we go through life, to do more. So we have to, in order to go faster, in order to gain more progress, now we've got to do more. And this is a very slippery slope because we're now mistaking movement for progress. We feel like we're doing a lot of activity, then we look at ourselves and the progress that we're making on said activity, and we're like, well, but why aren't we going anywhere? That's because we're moving a lot, but we're not progressing much. And so the framework that I want to share with everybody is go, stop, feedback, reflect, go. Okay, so you got to go. This is okay. Now we'll bring NASCAR in because Trisha's family is big into NASCAR. Her father was a huge racer, not in NASCAR, right?
No, IndyCar. But.
IndyCar. A huge racing family. So I'll give this metaphors for you. All right, the cars when you're on the track, they get to go for about how many laps?
Like 400. Right?
No.
Before a pit stop?
Before a pit stop?
At one time.
Depends on the length of the track.
Okay,
but let's just call it
give me average.
50.
Okay, so you go 50 laps. That's your sprint. You get to go, and you
Yeah.
get 50 laps. Then you have to physically stop. They stop. They pull in. They go to pit road. They stop. They get their car worked on. There's a feedback happening as that is going on. There's a crew chief, and that crew chief is kind of like your brain, and that crew chief is saying, "Hey, here's some feedback. We actually only need 2 tires. Rip the window sticker off because it's got too many bugs on it. Actually pound that side panel in because we're not so aerodynamic anymore." Yeah. And while we're sitting there, we're getting all of this work done on us, okay? And then then that plan happens, right? The plan is to fix the car, go back out, give it all the right parts, and go again so that we can go keep our speed up. If we just tried to go 100 laps or 150 laps, Trish, in one of those cars, what happens?
You run out of gas.
On the track. And you completely lose the race, you're embarrassed, and now you've got to drag your car back into pit road, and you've got to make sure
Who
that...
watched the race a couple weeks
Yes.
ago?
So it's go, it's stop, it's get feedback and reflect, make a plan, and then go again. And the go part is 20% of it. The stopping and reflecting part is like 80% of it. So I'm not suggesting that you should only work out 20% of the time. I'm suggesting that when you need a break, because you'll intuitively know it, follow your heart, listen to what I'm saying, don't mistake movement for progress, because your brain wants to go do more to fulfill the ego. Let that go, do less is more for now, recover, let your body come back to normal, go make that plan based on the feedback of how you're feeling intuitively to then go out and run another race or do another workout. So go, stop, feedback and reflect, and make a plan, and then go again.
Good metaphor. I
All
like
right.
that.
You
Can
like
I do
that?
a shameless plug?
Yeah, for sure.
If you feel like you need a rest day and you still want to move, on demand. Motion, stretching.
We've thought of it all.
Yes.
It's
It
true.
is true. Stretching, recovery, foam rolling, all the recovery on there. And if you must, people, like if your mental, right now you're in a state where your mental anchor is just moving 7 days a week, we'll get you off that eventually, but replace that last day with some light stretching, some yoga. Those all count in Keep Moving Club for you Burn Boot Camp crazies out there. All right, myth or fact? You ready for this, y'all?
These are my favorite, yes.
Yeah.
Myth or fact? Eating at night causes weight gain. Trisha, go.
It's a myth. It's a myth. I almost said it's a hard myth. I know that I think, before I became a trainer, I was like consuming all this like nonsense, right? I think back in the day was like tabloid magazines telling you what you needed to eat. And I did a lot of education to understand. And it's all about how many calories you consume throughout the day, throughout the week, really is what you need to look at. It doesn't matter if you eat all your food at the end of the day. At 11 p.m., let's say I didn't eat any food all day, and then I was like, I'm starving at 11 p.m. If I ate let's just call it 1,200 calories because I didn't eat all day at 11 p.m. and then I went to bed, I'm not going to gain weight at all because I ate at 11 p.m. It's all about your caloric intake and the energy units that you have inside your body. And again, time does not matter. Your body doesn't know time at all. It just knows how much you're feeding it. So I think that's the biggest misconception is people like read these things and they're like, oh, I can't eat at night because I'm going to gain weight. That's not true at all.
Yeah, and then what will happen is people who are selling product will come up with some facts that they pull out of the world from peer-revised scientific journals to support their point and to make sales, and they'll sell you that this thing or this pill or this way of eating or this plan is like vastly going to like help you from a life like changing perspective or a transformational perspective. And a lot of that stuff is just transactional. And the reality is, like Trish is saying, is like 99.99% of human beings just need to consume a little bit less energy in a 24-hour period than they're burning. And so that way we create a deficit, and that way, we are slowly losing body fat and becoming healthier over time. So I couldn't agree with you more. Just for me, it's just a 24-hour rule. Like, doesn't matter, really doesn't matter. But there are papers that you can go pull that says it does matter. Okay, but my question is, to what extent does it matter? If it's 0.00001% more effective, is that something that we should really hang our hat on as a fundamental strategy that's going to move the needle if it's only 0.00001% effective? Probably not.
I also think that there's, it could be go back to education for a second. If people think that they're gaining weight at night, like because of what they're eating at night, they might need to take a hard look at, because if you don't eat all day, you get home and you're starving, but you still had some food during the day, and then let's just say you're drinking alcohol on top of eating dinner, and you're starving again, so you're probably eating more than what you should have had on your plate, and then you like have a sweet tooth. So if you're not really sure on how to count your calories, I could see how people think that because of their eating at night, because they don't know how much they're actually eating, that's what's causing them to gain weight. So I think that there's just more education that needs to be shared around, how to count your calories, even though it's like, I always think of that meme. I don't know if you guys know of like the guy doing like all the algebra. All the math of like how many calories. But once you kind of get the basics, that's all you need is just a quick understanding. Then from there, you'll set yourself up for success.
Day, do you have a relationship with food and timing? What's your I know that you really work hard on all aspects of fitness, mentally, physically, nutritionally.
Yeah, this is a huge myth to me. I'll tell you, if I don't have food in my tummy, I'm not going to sleep. I'm just not. I'll lay in bed for hours and hours and hours until I finally get up and go eat something. I think what matters is the quality of the food that you're eating at night. Like I said, if I don't have food in my tummy, I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. I'm not going to have a good night's sleep. So I, at some point in my journey of discovering my body and how to feel my best, I found out that if I eat something with a slow digesting protein at the end of the night, like eggs or a plant-based protein shake, our again, shameless plug. Afterburn plant-based is great. Or like a Greek yogurt, something that's going to keep me full longer. I get better sleep. And if I'm not, I don't know anyone, well, I do know a lot of people that go all day without eating, but if I went all day without eating, that would be dangerous for everyone around me. So anyway, if I go to sleep with a full tummy, I sleep better. If I sleep better, I feel better. And
I like how you call it a tummy.
A tummy.
Full tummy.
That's
like,
cute.
I love it. No, I agree. I think it's all about calories in, calories out, and then what's the quality of the food. And I hope that that's not the case, because I love a good little snack at the end of the night. Devan knows this about me.
Yes.
It's either yogurt with some berries and some protein, or some popcorn, which probably is not healthy, but it's my guilty pleasure.
Well, popcorn oftentimes gets construed as healthy, but it's really high in the
Probably
glycemic index.
Probably not the kind that I have.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, but
So we could talk for a moment about I think this is a really important asterisk. I heard Trish mention this. So when we talk about alcohol consumption, that is the one thing during the day, if you're talking about timing and metabolism and physiological processes, that's the one thing that can interrupt it. Not the one thing, but it's the most common one thing that can interrupt it, that most people partake in. And so I did a quick little search here, and I mean, I won't go into all of this, but I mean, basically, to summarize, alcohol consumption with food, and then I'll give you a metaphor at the end. Alcohol consumption affects food digestion and metabolism in multiple ways, including slowing digestion, impairing nutrient absorption, altering metabolism, increasing fat storage, and disrupting hormonal balance. These effects can have both short-term and long-term impacts on health, particularly if alcohol is consumed frequently or in excess. And so let me translate that. Have you ever, and I know all of us have experienced this at least once, let's say in our college years, where you went out, long night of drinking, you're having like, you know, so much fun. Maybe you forgot to eat all day or whatever, and you're just having fun. But you get to the end of the night and you go to like, I don't know, for me it was like the pizza shop. We called it the malt shop, or Subway, or Quiznos, or whatever. Taco
Waffle
Bell.
House.
There we go.
Pita Pit.
Pita Pit. Yeah. And you absolutely eat everything on the menu, and you're so hungry, and then you're ready for more. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, I barely ate yesterday, but I gained like 5 pounds. Anybody ever felt that? Yeah. You wake up the next day and you're so bloated from, it feels like everything that you ate just like converted into body fat. Well, that's because it did. Because what happens when you drink too much alcohol, and I won't go like deep into it, but mostly it's the increased fat storage, so the impact on the lipid metabolism. Alcohol can increase the storage of fats in the liver and other parts of the body. This is because alcohol metabolism generates acetate, which is preferentially used as a fuel source, leading to reduced fat oxidation and increased fat storage. Do you guys understand what that means? So what this means is that because we generate this acetate, which is a preferential fuel source for the body, we are going to use that alcohol as fuel source right away. Can the body use multiple fuel sources at one time? No, you're going to use acetate. You're going to use that, which is produced by the liver. Then you're going to use glycogen from your muscle stores and your glycose from your carbohydrates, and then you're going to use body fat, which is why people fast, so that they can bypass glycogen to get to body fat storage. So by introducing alcohol, and I could be wrong, somebody fact check this, but I've always believed this and I've always practically felt this, so please feel free to fact check me out there. But when you drink alcohol, the consumption, I'll just use that word as a general term, how consuming that alcohol is for your liver debilitates its opportunity to oxidize fat, and therefore increases the fat storage. So now Pita Pit, the number 4 and the number 6 that you got from Pita Pit, is on the left hip and on the right hip, and you might have only eaten 2,500 calories, but the physiological processes in your body reduce that food in some way, shape, or form to fatty acids. So I'm, by the way, always open to being fact checked on these podcasts because they're long form and we just kind of spit out of the mouth, and I have a couple tools up here, but that has always been my experience. So I will say everything that we said was right, unless you're introducing alcohol in a big way first.
Yeah.
All right, people. Woo! So it's a myth? Is that what we all universally agree that that's a myth?
It's
okay.
a myth.
All right, let's go. All right, we have a member Q&A, another member Q&A here. Any tips for mamas? I have a feeling this question is going to be directed toward Morgan and Trish. But any tips for mamas who want to work out but have an intense schedule of 12-hour plus days? Morgan, why don't you start with this one?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough to have a 12-hour day regardless if you're a mom or not, but I can understand how adding kids in the mix obviously can be challenging on your schedule. So the first thing I thought about was, you know, where do you have the most energy, and can you wake up a little bit earlier and do that workout before your 12-hour shift ends? Because I would imagine at the end of a 12-hour shift, your energy is low, you're ready for maybe some decompression. And so finding those quick pops in the beginning of that shift would be my recommendation. And again, I'm gonna plug Burn On Demand, where we have quick camps, and you know, we have different time frames that you can work out, so it really gives you a lot of different options, and you can do it right from home. And that's a great stair step into getting into the gym, where maybe you have more time to do it. But yeah, 12-hour shifts are tough. So I would say where your energy is the highest, whether that's before or after, is where you should find that window to pour into yourself first.
Yeah, and I would just say for what I do, that's worked well for me is scheduling my workouts. Every Sunday I'll like look at my schedule for work, my meetings, and then I'll look at the kids stuff. Like what do we have in the afternoons? Like, do they have student council at 7:00 in the morning? Like what does this look like? And I'll plot my workouts. If I don't do that, there's a chance that I will not go to as many camps as I had tried to go to. But if I do schedule my workouts and I actually like make a commitment, I'm like 9 times out of 10 gonna hit all of them. So that's what sets me up for success. I know 12 hours is a long day, and I don't know if that person has like an opportunity to take a break. Like I'm so glad that we have noon camp at Burn Boot Camp Lake Norman, because I can just pop up during my lunch break, get my workout in, and then go back to work. So to Morgan's point, whenever you can find that energy, and then if you can schedule them during that 12 hour to kind of break it up, I think that's what I would say.
Yeah.
And obviously no children at this point, but planning, right? That's what they're saying is like make a plan.
Yeah.
So what is your planning process?
Yeah, planning. If I can't make it to noon camp at Lake Norman, I will. For example, today I won't be able to make it. I woke up early and I did an on-demand workout at home. Because I'm prioritizing it, right? So I would say I don't have kids. I'm not even going to pretend to know the challenges that come with being a mom and having children depending on you as well. But I do know from all the wonderful moms that I get to work with every day that the better you are, the more you pour into your own cup, the more you're going to be able to pour into your children's cup.
Yep.
So I think prioritizing that workout and then an accountability buddy really, really helps.
Absolutely.
Good point.
Good advice.
Yes, Day. Yes, that is literally like exactly what I do. So I will not make any comments out of that. Besides, we write about this in the Burn book. So we write about the anchor to your entire life is getting your workouts on your schedule. Why is that? Because getting your workouts on your schedule, the act of doing that is also simultaneously the act of prioritizing yourself. Because we believe that there's no single better time that you could spend in your life than focusing on yourself from the inside out, making yourself stronger so all of the people can feel the energy that you're manufacturing inside of you. And so get it on your schedule. Schedule becomes reality. Tell someone, have an accountability. So schedule, accountability, make magic happen. All right? Burn Nation, aren't you just loving this today? We are just on fire. Okay, it is World Emoji Day too, so we're gonna have a little bit of fun right now. Okay, World Emoji Day. And so let's see, the team has some cards with some different emojis on them, and I'm gonna call out a word that is associated with burn, and you're gonna give me an emoji and a feeling or a comment that represents that word. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna play two. All right, Burn Nation. I'm gonna give you guys an emoji at the end, or I'm gonna give you a word at the end for your emoji. Did I show them my emojis?
You did. Good job.
Okay, stick around because we're gonna give you guys an opportunity to do one at the end. Okay, the first word. There's 5 words. The first word. What emoji comes to mind when you think of high fives? What do we do? Oh, look at the pattern, people. We got hearts, blue hearts, and we got high fives. I thought the high five you guys are showing actually meant stop. That's why I didn't choose that one.
Funny.
Talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand. Why'd you choose the heart, Day?
Because high fives make me think of burn, and all my blue heart emojis are burn emojis.
Burns.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Number 2, are we ready?
Yeah.
Metcon, go. Oh, we all 4 have different ones here, people.
Crying.
Mine is like I like it, but I'm like intimidated. So it's the emoji that's like a smiley face, but then a teardrop.
I'm happy, but I'm
I
crying.
like it, but I'm scared and I'm crying. So
Trish, you just have 2 giant heart eyes.
must be your favorite protocol.
Love Metcon. It is my favorite.
Mine is because I feel like I'm on fire the entire time.
Yeah, Metcon makes me feel strong.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys playing along yet out there, Bird Nation?
Can I also just shout out, if you're listening to this on like Spotify or Apple podcasts, you can watch us on YouTube. So go to the Burn Boot Camp YouTube if you're trying to figure out like what our emojis look like. If you're trying to visualize that, just have to shout that out right now.
Yep.
All right. We have number 3, burpees.
Why the American
we're the American
flag?
What's more American than burpees?
Oh my
that's
God.
a word we made up. We get to own that word. I think we did.
I have no idea about
I
that
think we
one.
did. At
Fact
least,
check him.
at least, or burpees, because that's my trainer face whenever I'm like burpees, and the members are like. That's my
Trish, I like your
face.
emoji. I don't think I've ever used that in real life, so I like that one.
So I don't know if this is just on the Teams one.
is,
I actually,
yeah.
because I wish Apple had this, but I'm using the rock on one because I think it's like a mental game. Like I have to like love burpees. And so now I've told myself I love burpees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Were you good? You do yours
Nope,
if you
all
want to.
good, all
I'm trying to
good.
move through this.
All
Okay.
right.
We have the last one. Two more. The finisher. Go.
Celebration.
Yeah.
Let's go. It means you're almost done, so you can celebrate.
That's so funny. This is an example of perspective, everybody. How everyone's truth is their own truth, and we should never argue or get frustrated with other people's perspective. As Morgan celebrates, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Right?
Hardest 2 minutes of your workout.
Exactly. Okay, and the last one. 2 claps.
Just the clap emoji.
Oh,
How can you
yeah.
not?
You know.
Devin has 2 on the screen. We just have 1, but it is 2 claps. So.
Okay, I end all my texts basically with the 2 claps
Yeah,
on 2.
it's like the heart, the claps are like, and the fire sign are like the 3 most common ones in
Most
my
used, yeah.
text threads.
Okay, are you ready, Bird Nation? It's World Emoji Day, and so we have one word for you, and I want you to comment or hold up or think about the emoji that comes to mind first when I say Burn Boot Camp Podcast.
Ooh, I
like it.
Pressure. Come on, guys, give us a good emoji.
We got to get at least 500
Come on.
emojis below to represent for World Emoji
Give
Day.
us some love.
Let's get it. All right. On the last thing we're gonna round. Oh, that was fun, by the way.
That was fun.
That was fun. We should do more
love
fun. We should do more fun
love
things like
emojis.
that, Chelsea. Okay. All right. Chelsea, our producers in the background, like, you got it, y'all. That was fun. All right. Member Q&A. Everyone says that progressive overload is the way to change my body. What are your thoughts on this? All right. Would you guys like me to start on this one?
Yeah, I think explain what progressive overload means to all of the listeners.
Okay, so I will explain what progressive overload means, and I will put it in a category that's just like all other scientific terms where smart people sit around a desk and try to label something and come up with a word that means something more complicated than it actually is, all right? So progressive overload is just a fancy way, or our trainer's CPT way of saying lift more weights in the same rep range over time. All right.
Lift
And
heavier weights, right?
more like heavier weight
weight.
in the same
Oh,
rep
yeah.
range over time. Okay. So progressive overload. As we progress through time, we want to load over the top of the load that we had last time. Overload. What that does is really drives hypertrophy. What hypertrophy is a rep range, generally speaking, between 8 and 15 reps, depending on what literature that you'll read, that says this is the rep range in which you recruit the maximum amount of muscle fiber, and when you do so, you will create the maximum amount of opportunity for recovery, which promotes muscle size and not necessarily muscle strength, muscle size first. Now, not size in terms of waking up looking like the Incredible Hulk, but size in terms of steadily over time. Takes so long, people, making your muscle a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit more dense, a little bit more volume. The bigger the muscle gets, the stronger you get. To get stronger, you must build more muscle fiber. Okay, you can't get stronger. You can't build muscle if you're not getting stronger. Make sense? So,
yes.
so progressive overload, you don't have to worry about it. It's just what we do at Burn. This is why we're tracking. We have a challenge coming up in the fall that we could talk about. Last January, we tracked some movements. We've tracking AMRAP in the summer months during kind of the conditioning phase of our programming. So we're constantly doing this behind the scenes. But you should also individually know what it is. Our trainers are going to push you, but you should be pushing yourself as well. All right. We believe that an educated member is a member that will be retained and will stay. An empowered member that will stay for a long time. If you have education, you have knowledge, you have power, you have confidence. All right. Now that we just have to execute. That's where the community part comes in. So that's my take on progressive overload. Is it the best way to change my body? The answer to me is absolutely 100%. The best thing that you could do is have a have periods of time in which you focus or split up different muscle groups, and you focus on hypertrophy, progressive overload within those muscle groups over time, and you just rinse and repeat that strategy. Those are my thoughts on this. It is very simple. It is what people mean when they say that strength is the new cardio.
Yep. I mean, I'll just go next. I have seen the most change in my body once I actually started to follow progressive overload. I think for the longest time I was really scared, specifically for upper body movements, to like increase my weights because I thought I was going to get bulky. I totally believed in that. But then I educated myself. I became a certified personal trainer. I trusted the trainers who are at Burn Boot Camp and that have empowered me to lift heavier. And since I've been doing that, I have seen changes in my body. So I 100% think that it is the way that you should train, but I also know that, you know, depending on who you are in your body, that kind of, it's just all dependent on who you are, I think, at the end of the day.
I think I'm a yes on this one. I think it's the best way to change your body. I think this is why our trainers are going to take those 12 pounds away from you and give you those 50 pounds, because there's something that they see in you that you're not going to get to, that hypertrophy that Devan talked about. And so that is the goal when you're trying to build muscle. It's one of the best ways to build your body, but nutrition is also going to help that as well. So it's not just one strategy component that has to be coupled with good nutrition.
Yeah, listen, I'm the non-trainer here, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. I'm telling you my own experience. Yes, that is how I have seen also the most changes in my body, and adding a little bit of weight is also how I feel the coolest.
That's right.
And that's important. That's important. It's confidence, right? Like the more weight you pick up, the more that it's a metaphor. Picking up more weight is a metaphor for confidence. If I can pick that weight up, I will have inherently overcome the doubt in which was subconscious, and I will have gone and done it. And that's what our trainers understand and recognize. That's why we encourage all of our members to just go a little bit heavier, even if it's a little bit. Because if you can do the 25s, can you do the 30s? Probably pretty close to the same. You could do the 25s. So we got to pick them up.
Don't be afraid to fail, right?
Well, you have to, right? I think isn't it interesting that failure is one of the only places, like the gym is one of the only places where failure is attributed to a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, get to failure today, great job. It's like, we should be getting to failure in everywhere in our life, because that means if we failed, we've maximized our potential, we've learned something. So just quickly, my last comment on this is that it's not just because of the things that we're talking about. Like we're having like more of a short-term conversation, which is great. But from a physiological perspective, in the long run, what hypertrophy really does, what hypertrophy is a form of demanding training. Dr. Whitney Suzuki writes a book called Happy Brain, Happy Life that proves this, and you can go pick that book up. I'd love for you to read it. I read it. It's amazing. It says that when you train in demanding fashion, hypertrophy is the demanding fashion for strength training. Hypertrophy, when you're lifting hard, going all the way to failure, that means you must put all of your concentration, all of your energy, all of your effort into that movement so that you fail. Well, when you fail, that is synonymous with recruiting the most muscle fiber that you could, or all of your muscle fiber. Now, what happens when you train in this demanding way is it's not just good for you physically. More importantly, it's good for you psychologically. Psychologically, when it comes to your memory, Alzheimer's disease, right? Dementia. These are two major brain diseases that have to do with the hippocampus, the structure that sits in the center of our brain. Kind of looks like two little horseshoes put together, like seahorse type little thing. It's like a flat little structure in the middle of your brain called the hippocampus, and it is literally responsible for your memory, your ability to store memory. So what Whitney Suzuki found is that when we have demanding training in our bodies, in our lifestyle, what happens is we've found that we can actually increase the size of the hippocampus, which the deterioration from not doing demanding training or demanding activity will cause the hippocampus to deteriorate. It's always going to naturally deteriorate. Entropy. We're constantly atrophying, no matter what. I said the wrong word. Entropy is not. Atrophy is the right word. We're constantly atrophying. So unless we have a mechanism to fight off the atrophy, right, and actually we used to think we couldn't regain brain cells, now we know that we can, right? You ever hear that? Like a lot of people would say, like, if you smoke marijuana, you're going to lose all your brain cells. You'll never be able to get them back. You ever hear that before? Yeah. That was like the dare to stay off drugs thing. Now we realize, like, yes, that's true. Like, if you just keep doing that and you don't do anything else, you're going to lose your brain cells. But if you are working out hard and you're studying hard, if you're using your body's energy systems and maximizing them, you can increase the size of your brain, especially in your hippocampus. That to me is the most important thing. I have people I love dearly in my life that are going through this in various stages, and it's a sad thing to watch. People that are otherwise normally healthy. I'm not saying it's just only because they didn't do demanding training every day of their whole life. There's a whole multitude of factors that goes into it. But I will say, when we do everything that we can control, demanding training, hypertrophy, lifting hard weights every day can grow the hippocampus and will if you give it a shot for long enough. And if you do that, your chances of acquiring those diseases, the percentages is inherently lower than if you didn't do those things. So it's not just for the way we look on the outside. Mm-hmm. It's also like, man, work out to preserve your memories, to go into your 80s at being sharp.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's a great book. I would love to have, if anybody knows Dr. Wendy Suzuki, I would love to have her on the podcast. I could ask this woman questions about that like for days on end. So if anybody happens to have a connection out there, Burn Nation, bring her in. I'll fly her in. We'll put her up. We'll talk to her. She wrote an amazing book, and it's really, really interesting stuff that I think is right up our alley in terms of like transcending physical fitness.
All
All right.
What a great episode today, guys. Good job.
Yes, it was. Morgan, how about you take us out today?
Yeah, well, I just want to recap a little bit here. If you're interested in joining our podcast, make sure that you click the link here in the show notes, or we're going to put the QR code up on the screen, or go to Devan or Burn Boot Camp's Instagram, and you can definitely get a hold of us that way. But if you want to be on the podcast live to do a real-time focus meeting with Devan, we would love to have you. We are booking those as we speak. But otherwise, guys, thanks again for listening. Thanks for being here, and we will talk to you next time. We're going to end like we always do. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.